Hey guys, hi, welcome back once again. My name is Vaishali, and today I'd like to talk about the internal split. Now, most of the times we invariably think and assume that we are one whole person, that we have a mind, that we are one whole integrated individual. And to some degree, it is relatively true. But then it may not be the whole truth. Our presumption and our assumption with regards to we being one whole integrated person or an integrated individual, one whole individual, may not necessarily be all the time true as well. So when I say that, firstly, why do I say that and what do I mean by that? And in order to kind of reflect on that, I would once again like to take the example from the movie PK. Now in this movie, we see some individuals, aliens, who kind of look like people on our planet Earth. They have similar body structure like that of people on our planet Earth. And yet these are creatures, these are aliens, or even individuals, if we can call them, who do not have a verbal language. They do not use words in order to communicate their stuff, their feelings, their thoughts, their emotions. And which is where throughout this movie, and especially in the last part of the movie, this nuance is conceived and even conveyed in the most beautiful way. So when I asked a few people around if they can recollect the last bit, the last segment of the movie, what was the very last part that gets portrayed in the movie when the other aliens also land on our planet, when the other aliens land on planet Earth? And quite unfortunately, not one single person could remember the last bit of that movie. So if we can try and recollect, we'd understand that in the last segment, wherein the spaceship lands on planet Earth once again, along with the other aliens, they had come to research on our language. They had come to research as to why was there a discrepancy in what people on Earth said, thought, felt, and what they did. Why was there a discrepancy in their thoughts, words, and actions? Why was there an internal split? And throughout the movie, they've also tried to point out that many a times we use words not to express, but to hide our own stuff. That many a times we do not express what we authentically feel and think. That many a times words are used as garments to hide what we are at that point in time. Which reminds me of the quote, "Who are you when nobody is watching? Who would you be if nobody was watching? And more importantly, would you be absolutely okay if nobody was watching?" Because that would somewhere take away a part of our validation mechanism. Validation through the others. Approval of the others through the others. Approval of our own selves through the eyes of somebody else. Through the acceptance of somebody else. So it is through this process of socialization and culturalization that we all experience an internal split. That most of us do not find our good enoughness within ourselves. And this process begins very early in our lives, when we first begin to verbally speak a lie that in the initial years acts as a self-preservation mechanism, a self-defensive mechanism to protect ourselves from harm's way, to protect ourselves from getting punished. A very intelligent mechanism at the age of 2.5, 3 to protect one's own self. A very intelligent mechanism of the brain that protects the person at that point in time. And gradually, with the passage of time, we begin to hone our skills with that. What essentially began as a coping mechanism, as a self-preservation, self-protective, self-defense mechanism, now becomes a habit that gradually inhabits most of us. through which we tell all kinds of lies, full lies, half lies, black lies, white lies. And for most of us, or almost all of us, what began as a self-preserving, as a self-defense, as a self-protection mechanism now becomes a mechanism through which we want to fit in. Now becomes a mechanism through which we want to establish harmony. Now becomes our mechanism on which we build our relationships both on intrapersonal and interpersonal levels. Now becomes a tool on which we build our relationships with our own selves and with the others. It becomes a tool wherein we say that we use it not to hurt somebody else, and it may be helpful in some relative ways, but in most ways what we essentially are avoiding is the fear of abandonment. What if we speak our honest truth, and what if we are abandoned by them? What if we are rejected by them? What if we are made to feel ashamed by the others? And it is this fear of abandonment that had kept us safe in the childhood, in the early formative years. But maybe at times, over a period of time, with overusage of this particular tool, it gets abused, it gets maladaptive, wherein we face the repercussion of an internal split, of even an external split. So coming back to the movie, wherein this character, PK, has never lied in his life. For the very first time, living with people on earth, he learns how to lie. And that is where the character played by Anushka Sharma of Jaggu says, "बहुत कुछ सिखा के गया." He taught us a lot. कुछ सीख के भी गया. झूठ बोलना सीख के गया. He also learned something in return. He learned how to lie. And maybe there's a difference in the lie that he learns to speak. He lies when he realizes that this girl that he loves so dearly is in love with somebody else, has always been in love with somebody else. And since there was an internal rift that had been created within this girl due to her own conditioning and due to her own interpersonal interaction, he could have easily made use of that opportunity to kind of get close to her, to even make her fall in love with him. And it would have been pretty easy for him to do so. But since he had always functioned with integrity in integrity, wherein there was no conflict between his body, heart, brain, mind and soul, he functioned in keeping with that. His decision to not express his true feelings were in keeping with that. And unless we realize this about ourselves, as to where we begin to split from ourselves, as to how much do we keep splitting within our own selves, why we split within our own selves, what and how is it serving or disserving us? Is it more helpful or is it more harmful? Does it help build trust within ourselves and the others, or does it rob us of ourselves, trusting our own selves and the others? Is it out of the fear of abandonment? Is it out of the fear of rejection? Is it out of the fear of punishment or shame? Or is it just about maintaining a certain image that we have crafted and honed for way too many years? Is it making us feel restrictive and constrictive from within? Or is it enabling us feel more expansive from within? Is it helping us feel more integrated from within? Or is it splitting us from within? Let's try and think about all of these adaptive coping mechanisms for ourselves so as to find our own wholeness within. Let's try and do that for ourselves, and I will see you once again the next week. Till then, stay tuned in. And guys, if you do like the contents of my videos, please do like, share and subscribe.